Hello, Dhiresh. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to join me for this interview. How are you?
Not so bad in yourself. The pleasure's all mine.
Great, thank you. So, the reason I invited you for an interview is because I saw you're a very insightful person in the crypto campus. I know you predicted the FTX crash about 2 to 3 weeks before it happened. You were warning the students. There was a lunar incident as well. I believe you were warning people about that. And with the Bitcoin as well, I know you called it near the top. So it seems like you really know what you're doing. I'd like you to go more into depth on that later. But for now, what was your life like before the real world?
Basically, I've lived a very eclectic life. I've been through many different experiences, many different positives, many different negatives, some ups and downs, a whole bunch of stuff that most people haven't really even experienced individually on their own. So I speak from a guy who's come from a lot of experience, a lot of life experience. I'm 31 years old, as I mentioned. I've been around. I've had many experiences. I've had sort of threats on my life. I've had a gun pointed at my head. I've had people threaten me with knives. I've been in attempted carjackings, robberies. Um, I've seen my dad lose his parents. I'd lost my grandparents. I'd come home to sort of try and get people saved from heart attacks. Anything that you could have experienced in your life, I've probably done it. So I come from a wealth of knowledge, not just a person who's fresh out of school or university and just coming into the real world. So I come in as a much older individual compared to the average student who's in their teens, early 20s, who's trying to sort of find his place in life. I also grew up in a very different time where we didn't have access to the internet in my earlier days. It was just a few select people. You needed to go to like an internet cafe, or you needed to go and read the stuff in a library and like photocopy books. So I come from a very different age where you have to work very hard to gain the knowledge that you have. So coming into the real world and seeing how easily available some of this information is actually surprising. It's surprising that people aren't willing to not only pay that fee, but pay the fee and do all the work when they get inside. $49, even to somebody like me who's in the third world, and I have an exchange rate of 18 to 1 at the moment. Even for me, if somebody had to pay $49 times 18 every single month, I'd pay it. I wouldn't ask a question. I feel like I'm getting more than my value at the end of the month. But the thing that surprises me is we have everything that you could ever think of in terms of modern wealth creation. Any sort of sphere of influence, any sort of sphere of investing, trading, stocks, crypto, Amazon FBA, copywriting, personal finance, any realm of human endeavor that you can imagine is covered, and not only covered by normal people, covered by professionals, covered by multi-millionaires in these specific fields. Um, so my life's changed quite drastically because I've actually been awakened to how lazy people are, how little work and effort they're willing to put into not only their education but themselves, because your education is a direct translator of what you will become. The less you know, the less you can be, is something that I always believe. So it's actually surprised me. I always thought people were relatively smart, relatively intelligent, maybe lazy, but I never realized how people weren't even willing to go and take something that's spoon fed to you that will guarantee you to improve your life or make you money or make you a more experienced individual in a certain sphere of life. Even when they have that, they don't want to they don't want to take it. They don't want to take it. So that's where people like the professors, people like the captains and the apprentices become very important because they become the link between the information and the actual individual. Because the individual can come in, he can pay his sort of monthly subscription and just sort of lose track of what he needs to do, be overwhelmed by the amount of information, the knowledge that could be shared and learned. That's where we sort of come in and we bridge the gap. We see where the shortcomings are. We send people to lessons. We send people to videos. We send people to quizzes. We answer questions directly or indirectly if need be. The professors get in. Uh, if you want, you can even ask Andrew Tate a question directly. You can book a session directly with him and get one-on-one advice from one of his teammates, one of his trained team or staff. So the thing that I've noticed is information is much more easily available than people think. Making money is not as difficult as you think, but it's just people are lazy, not willing to work, get overwhelmed, too too insistent on staying within the matrix and staying within the parameters that have been set for them. But it's our job to break people out. It's our job to pull people out of the matrix one by one if that needs to be the way we do it. Yeah, that's how my life has changed through the real world. I've seen that people need us. People need us, and people need us desperately, because without us, they wouldn't get out on their own, unfortunately.
Sounds like a very interesting life you've had and some very insightful experiences. That was, yeah, great to hear. How did you find out about the real world and what made you decide to join it?
Very great experience after the fact, after you've gone through it, after you've evolved, after you've learned from the experiences. But during the process of going through some of these things, it's easy to understand how people can fall into depression, how people can lose hope in life, can just sort of spiral downwards. I could have been very close to that myself. Um, to humanize myself and give you a bit of my life story, my mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, it was stage 3 breast cancer, so basically a terminal disease, something that could only be managed, not cured, which sort of sent her through numerous surgeries, treatments, chemotherapy, whatever you can imagine, we did it. Whatever we needed to buy, we bought it. Whatever we needed to like sort of feed her, we fed it to her. So we went through a journey of maybe a 4-year period of us sort of struggling to stay alive. Um, and then unfortunately in 2020, we'd lost her. And not lost her to the fact that cancer had taken her, because at the time she was in remission. Obviously, remission is a dangerous term to use, because you're never ever really in remission from late onset cancer. You just sort of buying more time essentially until it comes back. Um, so I had lost my mom in 2020 to cancer, because when she was sick and needed treatment, and my dad had taken her to the hospital, I couldn't, because I live in a different province. I sort of raced down there as soon as I couldn't get there in time. My dad had taken her in. Guess what? That was in the height of the COVID epidemic, or the flu pandemic, where people were just taking up beds for no apparent reason. People just sniffling and coughing and weren't really that sick, taking up beds and respirators and space in hospitals. So when my mom was taken to the hospital, unfortunately, there was no bed for her. And in the time that it took getting her to a bed, we had lost her, unfortunately. So 2020 was a very difficult time for me. Not only did I ruin myself financially by sort of taking on the financial burden of treating my mom and trying to keep her on, I also lost a lot of money through estate tax, because after my mom passed, my dad was retired, didn't really have a lot of money as per a normal sort of middle income kind of guy. I decided to sort of burden the cost of the state tax and winding up the state and transferring houses and paying off debt and those kind of things. So I completely ruined myself. I had to sell every single bit of my investments, all of my life savings. I actually even went deep into debt just to keep my mom alive and pay for bills and those kind of things. So I come from a point where life had really beat me down, even though I'd done all I needed to do to be successful and lay a good path for myself and a good foundation. Life had found a way to beat me back down to submission and back to sort of very humble beginning. And that's when the Tate content started becoming popular. I think this was before the days of Tate on TikTok. This was before the days of Tate going viral on any social media. Nobody really knew of him. There were just a few sort of Tate confidential videos where you're sort of traveling the world and trying to get around these sort of COVID and lockdown restrictions. And it resonated with me very much, because I lost my mom due to the stupidity of what COVID had sort of put onto the world, and a lot of the messages that he was giving was stuff that I could resonate with, things that I could agree with, things that I was actually telling people in my real life before that. So I naturally sort of grew accustomed to the information that he was giving, and wanted to spread that information as well. So yeah, I was in a very bad position in my life. Even though I'd done a lot, been through a lot, that period of my life was very difficult for me. I'd lived my entire life trying to become successful and rich and wealthy so that I could take care of my mom. But when your mom's taken away from you, what are you doing it for? I have cars, I have houses, I have those kind of things. What are you still doing it for? I don't have kids. I lost all purpose in life. And Tate and the real world, even though it's not a direct correlation, he sort of realigned me. He gave me a new purpose. He gave me a direction where I felt that I could change more lives than I would have changed in my everyday life. So yeah, that's basically what led me to the Tate influence, the Tate brand, and I've never been the same ever since. Improved tremendously mentally, physically. My financial standing has improved. My ability to teach, my ability to speak, my ability to lead, everything has improved. The staff that work with me at work have seen a notable change. Each and every single one of them told me, you've become a different person in the last 2 years. A lot of them sort of see me as an older sort of mentor figure, even though I'm just a nobody. I'm a brokey still. Yeah, so it's amazing. Been an amazing journey for me as somebody who's doing it at an apprentice or captain level. I can just imagine how it would affect an individual who doesn't have that responsibility, who just needs to come into the real world and learn. Imagine what you could unlock if you don't have to go and teach other people, if you don't have to help other people, you just need to help yourself. The possibilities are limitless. And the only way that I change my current situation is if I could just be a student and not have any responsibilities and just learn. But I get so much of value out of teaching that it's priceless.
Once you joined the real world, why did you choose to do crypto out of all the other options? Is it just because of your past experience with it? Or was there more to it?
Okay. Prior to coming across Andrew Tate and the real world, and at the time it was Hustlers University too. I think I joined during the pre-TikTok phase where he wasn't really that well known, so you had to like sort of search him out to find him. I think the time that I joined was around 12,000 students, so relatively early compared to where we are right now. The reason why I chose to join the crypto campus, first of all, to be honest with you, I joined every single campus because um, I maybe didn't listen to the advice very well, but I'm at the approach where I'm smart enough to take on multiple different facets of business and sort of life at the same time. So I wanted to expose myself to every single thing because for the mere value of $49 at the time, and I think it's still $49 now, you have access to multi-millionaires in multiple disciplines across the world, across different fields, different ages, different experience levels. So why not expose yourself to many different individuals, even if you aren't specifically trying to target, let's say, copywriting, or not trying to go to Amazon FBA or one of these specific niches, but exposing yourself to copywriting and using your copywriting in your freelancing business or using it in your crypto business that you're starting is always stuff that's building on one another. So I basically joined everything, but the place that I found a home in was the crypto campus. Most especially because okay, this goes back to 2020 when some stuff happened to me. I decided I needed something in my life to sort of align myself, and I decided to start giving free crypto lessons to people in my life. I selected 20 professional individuals from my field, doctors, engineers, lawyers, accountants, so relatively smart people that could grasp these concepts and could have some capital to actually implement if they chose to do so. So I chose to take them on a 1 month, I like you, a 1 year journey where I took them from whatever level they were. I gave them one-on-one consultation. I taught them the ropes from beginner level to intermediate to experience to the point where they can go and sort of manage themselves and be completely autonomous from me and my decisions and my expertise. So after that process of giving people free 1 year worth of sort of one-on-one mentorship from somebody that knows what they're doing, because I had been in the space since about 2017, 2018. So I reached the point where through teaching and through learning while teaching, I realized, hey, I could actually do this because not only did the students gain valuable information, I gave them tools that they were now using in their real lives, and they were now teaching other people that they knew. So it was just naturally for me to build on my base foundation of knowledge. And then when you come into a place like one of the campuses, like the crypto campus, for example, and you meet the professors like Professor Adam, Professor Sua, Professor Michael, these guys are absolute geniuses in their specific niches. And if you can't come to a man like that and learn from him and be humble enough to say, whatever I did know, let me just scrap that away. Let me wipe the board clean and start from scratch and see what these guys have to learn. And if you can't do that, you heading for a very difficult path in life. The lone wolf path will not get people where they need to be. You need to surround yourself around other people that are not only like-minded, but superior in knowledge to you and your level. That way you're always catching up with these guys, and there's no end. Sometimes people come into the campuses and they ask, okay, I've done some of the courses, what do I do next? I've learned all the courses, I've done all the material, and it always shocks me because I'm at a point where I'm in crypto for at least 5 years. I haven't learned everything, and I learn something new every single day. Every single day, something that used to be a truth changes or twists, so there's a new nuance to it. So even though I had been in the space for 2 years prior to joining, actually 1.5, maybe 2 years in terms of teaching the content, I was blown away by how little I actually knew compared to what the professors knew. So I had to make a decision. One, continue with my ventures and try and teach what I knew and have the sort of lone wolf approach, or branch out and learn from the professors and not only shadow them, but use them for mentorship and use them as a conduit to teach their content as well. Because I could easily go and make my own videos, make my own content, but who's going to want to look at my dumb face? You know what I mean? When we have Andrew Tate, who's there, who's gonna capture the initiative of the youngsters and older people. I'm in Matetis and I still listen to him on a daily basis. There's a new podcast, whether I'm working or not working, it's playing in the background. I'm trying to get something out of it. Um, I quote some of the things he says in my real life to my colleagues at work. Some people look at me like I'm an idiot. Some people sort of shake their head and like just sort of nod and disagree because they realize if we get into a debate, this guy is going to sort of come with some facts that you didn't even hear. So I've decided to go down the path where I will be the conduit to the professors, the conduit of Andrew Tate himself, and I will be a vessel to transmit that information because me on my own, the impact that I can have is very minute compared to the impact that I might have with the real world and with Andrew Tate and his network of people and individuals.
And for people new to the real world, let's say they want to join the crypto campus as well, how many hours per day would you recommend they spend learning the material?
Okay, let me put myself in the seat, in the hot seat. When I first joined, I think I was offline the maximum 6 hours a day. And that was time that I was sleeping. When I was in the shower, I had lectures playing. When I was at work, I had videos playing. When I was watching TV and taking a break, something was playing in the background. I was answering a quiz. I was doing some research. I was reading a piece of paper that somebody suggested reading an article. For me, it never ended. I joined in 2021, and for the remainder of that year, I didn't stop learning. I learned from every single campus, every single lesson, every single course, every single suggested piece of reading material. I went through it. Anything that I could physically get my hand on and physically have enough time, I did it. I actually even changed my sleep routine. I'll come to this part at the end of it. When I realized that I wanted to be an apprentice, because obviously I came into the campus, I spent all my time learning, not talking to anybody, not asking any questions, just learning from everybody, learning, reading, completing courses. Courses got redone, completing them again. Didn't need to do it again. Completed that time because I wasn't sure about a little nuanced fact that I heard that like tricked me or like confused me a little bit. Went back and did it again. Uh, you could literally spend months in the real world and not finish everything. You could literally spend months nonstop as your full-time day job and not be exposed to every single thing that you need to do. The wealth of knowledge is tremendous. It's priceless. Maybe another thing I can add for new students. For the price of $49, I'm from South Africa. I come from the third world. The currency here is the South African rand. Our exchange rate during the year was about 18 to 1 at its worst. So if I can take 18 to 1 times $49 and throw it into this year and be willing to spend that every single month, and if you were to tell me that I were to leave and not have access, I would feel lost. I would feel as if I don't have direction. There were times where sort of maybe the server went down or couldn't access the app for a day or two, and I literally felt sick because I couldn't speak to people in my real life because nobody was on the same page as me. I couldn't ask questions that I wanted to ask. I couldn't share knowledge. It's a completely different world. Once you experience it and you actually delve deep into it and you immerse yourself in the knowledge, in the conversations, in doing the work, you realize that it's so far removed from your everyday life, from what everybody else thinks the real world is. It's completely a completely different paradigm. And the thing that people need to remember is this is still new. This is still a relatively untested program that we've created over a very short period of time. It's only going to get better. It's only going to improve. And if today you were to tell me you could have any subscription or any service that gave you any amount of books, udemy.com, audible.com, you could tell me go to any first-class university anywhere in the world, and I had to leave the war room and not have access to the professors, the people that I've met, the connections I've made, I would tell you no. There's not a single university, not a single financial institution, not a thing. There's no business. You could even tell me there's Apple offering me a high-level position to come and work for them, but I need to erase tape from my mind. I would say no. You could tell me Facebook, you could tell me Meta, you could tell me anybody. I would say no every single time because we are at the cusp of changing the world in a way that has never been changed before. No one has done this and no one will do this because no one has the influence, nor do they have the knowledge and the breadth of brotherhood amongst the different professors, the different captains. Nobody has it. You physically can't buy it. And a lot of the people that I work with on a daily basis are not here for money. They aren't here for power or status or anything. They're here to change the world. And as a side consequence of that, money will find you, influence will find you, success will find you. But you need to change the world first for the world to change you. Um, as Andrew says with his new conversion to Islam, God will give you gifts by you doing the hard work. But the hard work has to come first. Nobody just got rich by mistake. Nobody got muscles by being a lazy fucker sitting at the couch and just watching TV. This is my office, and my punching bag is right there in the corner. Um, Life is never ending. It's never evolving. And if a man like me at the age of 31 who has a house, who has cars, uh, if I can still learn from somebody and humble myself, somebody that's 18, 19, 20 can definitely do it and can definitely learn much more than me because they have such a huge advantage in terms of time, in terms of effort, in terms of resources. It's crazy. I wish I could go back 10 years and do this all over again.
Very interesting answer. Thank you, Dhiresh. Could you go more in depth on the community aspect? So, how different are the people? I know you mentioned it's a completely different world to people outside, but yeah, is there anything else you'd add in terms of the community?
Uh, I have to bring it to my experience because that's what I have and what I can speak on. I work in a professional environment. I work amongst other engineers, other sort of intellectual individuals, and I can't have the types of conversations that I have in the real world with the people that I have in in the real world, in real life, basically, we put it that way. Um, with managers, with civil engineers, project managers, chemical engineers, I speak to these people because I expect them to be on a level where they can comprehend what's actually happening in the world. And these guys are completely clueless. You can't have the same types of conversations that you can in the real world, where everybody understands what's happening. Everyone's trying to learn, everyone's trying to improve. Out here in IRL, and people don't know what the fuck's going on. They just wake up, go go to work, come home, watch a movie, watch a TV show, go to sleep, go to work again, watch a movie on the weekend. What kind of an existence is that? And you do that for 20, 30, 40 years of your life. Whereas you can come into the real world, you can speak to. This is maybe a selling point that people forget to mention. I know there's a lot of these videos on YouTube and stuff where guys say exposing Hustles University, exposing the real world. I joined so you didn't have to. They haven't done anything. They've joined, they've looked at it, they've left. If you join and you spend a week, a month, any amount of significant time where you actually apply yourself and you see what's available, you would even ask, you'd even be willing to spend $500. If you were to tell me $500 is what you need to put on the table every month, just have access, I'd do it without even thinking about it. You have access to multiple millionaires. I'm 30 years old. Um, I've tried doing a lot of things in my life. I've started a business where I've done carbon fiber sort of molding for car parts. I think I might even have something here. This is one of the pieces that I used to make, like these little carbon fiber thingies. Uh, I had a hydroponics and aeroponics company where people were sort of building indoor growing facilities. I used to do a bit of carpentry, high level carpentry, people's kitchens and remodeling and those kind of things. I'm an engineer, so I used to do like construction work and stuff around the house and renovations. I've tried to find methods in every single field that I've ever tried to endeavor in, and it's never been easy. Forex, trading, investing, whatever it is, I've tried. I've spent money. I've put money into private groups. I've put money into subscription services. I've put money into buying people's courses, and I've never spent less than $49. And here, for $49 a month, you have access to about 10 to 15 actual multi-million dollar mentors who will talk to you on a daily basis. You can send them a direct message and maybe they won't respond to you immediately. Maybe it'll take them a couple of minutes, a couple of hours, but they will get back to you. They will either give you a written response, a video response. They'll make a lecture or a lesson specifically to answer your question. Where can you find that? You cannot find that anywhere else. You can go to university. You can ask your professor, hey, dude, please teach me something about quantum physics and a specific aspect of that. And maybe I'll give you a little 5-minute sort of speech. But he's not going to come to your house and talk to you in the middle of the night when you have a question and you can't understand what the fuck you need to do next. When you have your money on FTX and you're panicking because you're seeing all these articles, people are saying, "Oh, this is happening, that's happening. SBF has left the country. He's fled to wherever the fuck he is." Imagine how valuable that is if you have a high net worth, if you have $100,000 on FTX at the time, and you could come into a campus and say, "Hey guys, I'm panicking, I'm stressed, I don't know what's happening, I've not been keeping up to date. I know you guys had warned about this 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, but I hadn't listened. Now I'm here at a position where I need this advice. Please help me." Not only will one of the professors get you, one of the captains, if not one of the captains, one of the community members will come to your rescue. They'll point you in the right direction where the lesson is, where the recommendation is, who can help you, who can answer the question, or even give you the answer directly, all for the price of $49 a month. You couldn't get a mentor, a single mentor, for $49 a month. I paid hundreds of dollars per month to have a Forex mentor for the space of maybe 2 years. And the amount of value that I got from that man versus the value I got from any of the crypto professors, any of the personal finance professors, Luke, anyone from whether it be Amazon FBA to freelancing to whatever we offer in the real world, it's priceless. It's priceless. You can literally go and get a personalized response to you any time of the day, almost any type of question, any realm, and it'll be answered. You can even go directly to Andrew Tate and ask him a question, and he will answer your question for free. Just pay a subscription, and you have access to multiple $1 million mentors. Is there a better sell than that? There is no better sell than that. I struggle. I struggle to understand how people can doubt the service and can doubt what we offer here. It's unmatched, and it'll never be matched ever again.
It's the mindset of laziness that they're coming from. That's why they speak negatively about it. They just don't want to put in the work.
Correct. And also, there's also a bit of nuance that it's at the time it was much more sort of easy, more fun to hate against Andrew Tate, to be part of the sheep and say, "Hey, yeah, he's a this, he's a that, he's scamming people, it's a pyramid scheme." That's all utter bullshit. Not a single one of those things were actually true. And the amount of negativity these people brought on themselves now is overwhelming, because now people are going and seeing the actual results that people are getting. They're seeing the actual wins. They're seeing the actual testimonies of people that are coming in here and joining. Like personally, I'm willing to leave my professional job and do this full time, because that's the amount of value that I see in it, not only for myself, but the value I can bring to others. As a civil engineer that designs pipes and water distribution networks, maybe I can change a few hundred people's lives, maybe a few thousand people's lives. So what? Yeah, I can change hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, just by speaking the truth. We aren't conning anybody. We aren't lying to anybody. We're here working every single day. I'm essentially a professional individual where I don't need to do this. I could live off what I earn every month. I make more than enough money to sort of sustain myself. But I sleep for 4 to 5 hours, because whatever free time I have, I spend it here in the real world, trying to teach people, trying to elevate people, trying to save people from themselves and their own mistakes, where they just don't know what they're doing in life. They have no guidance. They have no direction. They just lost. It's actually quite sad. And if I could be part of the recovery plan that saves a few, well, that's what I'm doing.
Very profound. What are the biggest lessons you've learned from the real world? If there's just one that summarizes everything, feel free to say one, or give, let's say, a top 3.
That's a very difficult question. I'd say just in the crypto campus alone, each of the professors has at least 40 hours, 40, 50, 60 hours worth of video lessons, whether it's investing, whether it's trading, whether it's NFTs, decentralized finance, anything that you can think about. There's either a written lesson, a video lesson, an audio lesson, hundreds of hours, hundreds and hundreds of hours. So for me to give you a specific lesson, a specific task, a specific quiz, a course, is going to be almost impossible. But one that is quite profound, and I think most students, if they do come across this video, because it's not something that's given to you upfront, it's something that you need to earn. There's a philosophy sort of lecture lesson given by Professor Adam, where he sort of breaks down everything that you would have thought you knew about finance, everything you would have thought you knew about investing, crypto, stocks, he brings you down to a very humble position where you understand that you as an individual know nothing. There are greater forces at play. There are people that control the world. There are people that control finance. There are people that control crypto. There are people out there that are trying to kill you, not physically kill you. Well, that's one thing as well, but financially kill you. They're trying to take every single thing that you own. They're trying to take your house, your car, your money, your savings. They're trying to take the clothes off your back. That I felt was one of the most profound videos that we've created in the whole campus, and it doesn't really have a specific niche that it's targeting. It's not teaching you how to invest. It's not teaching you how to trade, but it's teaching you how to think as an individual in the current world where everybody is trying to take you out. Everyone is trying to murder you. Everyone is trying to kill you. Everyone is trying to wipe your finances out. Everyone's trying to liquidate you. Everyone is trying to make you worth zero so that you have no power. That was, I would say, my favorite video. But in the personal finance section as well, there's some good stuff from Professor Arno. He does a lot of little short videos that are very informative, impactful, educational, and it's stuff that applies to almost everybody. Maybe if you come to Crypto Campus, you're only going to be exposed to things that are crypto related, and like if you're in that specific field where you're going to get it. But when you have somebody like Professor Arno that's just talking about life, about how you handle stress, how you handle situations, how you handle procrastination, businesses, all of these things, how you handle women, how you handle other men in sort of business deals, business situations. There's just too much. There's literally weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of video content amongst all the campuses, amongst all the professors. And once you're done with that, we would have revamped it already and gave you a whole new few weeks worth of video content again. Like from the time that I started, every single thing has been revamped. We have archives of the old information and the old videos, but everything's been redone. Everything's been rehashed. It's an ever evolving, ever changing sort of sphere. So we are on it every single day, all the time. Especially the professors. The professors take no days off. They work every single day, nonstop, and we do our best to support them and try and help them as far as possible.
Mhm. And now that you're on this path, where do you see yourself, let's say in 6 months to a few years?
6 months is a long time in an ever-changing world. Um, Personally, I've always known that I would succeed in life. At what level it was, maybe I wouldn't reach Andrew Tate's level. Maybe I wouldn't reach some of the professor levels. But I knew in terms of my upbringing, where I've come from, my previous disadvantaged background, being in a third world country, being a minority in a third world country as well. Um, I feel like I've done well, and I know that you put me in any situation, I will come out. Uh, I was paralyzed. I couldn't walk for 2 months. I fought. They told me I couldn't walk. They told me you'd probably never be able to run, hop, skip, jump, do any of those things. You'd probably walk with like data for like walking stick or something. I said, no, fuck that. I will go and I will gym and I'll work out every single day. I'll strengthen my legs. I'll strengthen my lungs again, and I'll fucking figure the shit out. So I always knew I would be successful, but I never had guidance. I don't have an older brother like Tristan Tate would have had. Um, I've always tried to find people that I could guide in life. I've always tried to find people that I could mentor on their journey that were younger than me, that were in a different position, more or less fortunate. I've always done that, so it's always part of me. Uh, and because I've come across the real world and I can see the impact that we will have in the future, I can't match that impact in my real world anymore. I've reached a point where I have reached the cap of what I can achieve, just being me as a lone wolf, tackling the world on my own. But now, if I can find a brotherhood of individuals who are also on the same wavelength as me, who have also been through difficult experiences in their life, also have high levels of knowledge and understanding of what's actually happening behind the curtains, if I can group together and band together with a brotherhood of people like this, oh my God, who knows what the potentials are? Maybe if I continue teaching crypto and a bit of finance and those kind of things before the real world, maybe out of at best affected a couple hundred people, a couple thousand people, whatever. 20 years of work, a couple hundred people. Here in days, I'm affecting a couple hundred, if not a couple thousand people, just in the fact of days. So uh, I'm at a point where I want to solidify what I leave behind, and leaving behind assets and houses and cars and stuff is not gonna it's not gonna put me in a position where my family remembers me and my lineage remembers me. But if I can change lives, if I can make other people rich, and by proxy be rich by default, isn't that much more powerful than me just being rich on my own and helping nobody along the way? Why not help everybody and help everybody be rich? and then be so rich that I'm not even in the field where I'm competing with these guys anymore. So there's enough money in the world for everybody, and the more people I can change, the more people I can realign on the correct path in life. I find tremendous sort of self worth in helping people and changing lives.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thank you very much for your time, Dhiresh. Really appreciate you coming on once again. And I look forward to seeing your progress in the future and potentially doing a re-interview, a part two.
Anytime, brother. Anytime, brother. The pleasure's all mine.